Last weekend, I had the opportunity to attend VeeCon for the very first time. For those of you that don't know what VeeCon is, it's a conference that's held by the entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk. I've been a huge fan of Gary's for over 7 years now, so I was very excited to be able to attend this conference. I was able to attend this conference because I'm the owner of one of his NFTs, and because of that, I was given a ticket to attend. So in this video, I just want to talk about my experience at VeeCon and tell you guys how it was. So VeeCon this year was held in Indianapolis. The first day was held at this park on the edge of the city. I think it was called White River State Park, and the rest of it was held at Lucas Oil Stadium downtown. That's where the Indianapolis Colts play. So the first day was kind of like a field day. It was out at that park. There was a bunch of booths set up with their sponsors, a bunch of fun activities to do. There was a few speakers throughout the day. There was food to eat, and it was just kind of the time to like get settled in, meet people and whatnot. The first day I kind of just took it all in. I went and saw the booths. I did some of the activities. Here's a video of me doing this Vayner Sports competition thing where you had to throw a football, kick a soccer ball, and throw a frisbee. I did really good on the football and soccer, but I couldn't get the frisbee into the thing. After that, I sat and listened to a few of the speakers. There was no one that spoke that I was super interested in seeing that day. It was still cool to hear some things they had to say. The cool part about the first day was that I was signed up to actually be able to meet Gary. They had different time slots throughout the conference that you could sign up to meet him, and so Thursday was the day I got to meet him. I had to wait in line for about an hour to an hour and a half to meet him, but then I was given like a minute to actually meet him and talk to him and take a picture with him, and it was awesome. He was just super genuine and seemed so happy to meet me and really seemed like he cared about what I had to say, even though he had been meeting people for several hours before then. I kind of just told him that I was grateful for everything he's done for me and told him how he inspired me to go all in on entrepreneurship and start my own business, and a lot of that I credit to him. After that, I got a picture with him, which was awesome, and that was pretty much a recap of the VeeCon field day. The next day was the first day at the actual stadium. Most of the stuff was actually on the field, so you would walk down through the bleachers and go onto the field. And then one half was like the main stage. They called it the VeeCon Viper stage. So that's where they had a bunch of the big speakers and a ton of seating, so everyone could hear and listen to whoever was speaking there at the time. So the first speaker of the day was Gary, his dad, and his brother. They did kind of like a family talk, and it was super cool, interesting to hear what they had to say. And yeah, the beginning of that day, I kind of explored what there was. Again, there was a bunch of different booths with sponsors and stuff. There were several different stages throughout the stadium. So there was that main stage, and then I want to say 3 or 4 smaller stages scattered throughout. So some of the smaller speakers would speak at those, and usually the bigger people would take the main stage. Some of the speakers I saw that day that really were great was Jesse Itzler. He was kind of the second speaker on the main stage. Gary said he wanted him to like hype everyone up, and he did just that. It was great. He had a great talk. We saw Scooter Braun that day. He was very interesting. I didn't know a ton about him other than he kind of put Justin Bieber on, but he had some great insight, and he just like kind of related to many entrepreneurs, and it was great to see that someone that has sold his company for $1 billion could resonate with some of the things I feel and go through on a daily basis. So that was awesome. We saw the guy who started Under Armour that day. His name's Kevin Plank. His story was super interesting, and it was just cool. You could tell how passionate he was about Under Armour, just the way he was talking about it. And he showed us this new shoe that he was wearing that was really cool, and like the heel folded down into a sandal, so for kids that like stomp on the heel of their shoes and ruin it, this is no longer a problem. And he was just really passionate and excited about it, so that was awesome to see. There were several other speakers I won't get into, but overall it was cool being able to see a bunch of different people, a bunch of different perspectives. And then that night, Andrew Schultz, the comedian, he came out and did kind of a roast on Gary Vee, and then he also did a comedy set, and it was super funny. It was hilarious, and I don't follow Andrew Schultz a ton, but I'm aware of who he is, and I've seen some of his content, and I thought he was great. He was super funny. So Saturday was the final day of VeeCon. Again, it was held at Lucas Oil Stadium. It was very similar to day 2, just speakers throughout the day from all different areas. Again, highlight speakers I saw was Guy Raz. He started How I Built This Podcast, one of my favorite business podcasts. So listening to him was really cool, and like hearing his voice in person. He has just a perfect podcast voice, so it's cool to hear him speak. As a VeeFriend holder, I got these trading cards sent to me, and I actually pulled 2 decently rare cards, and they had a booth set up there where you could get your cards graded by this professional grading service. So I submitted my cards. I'm really excited to get them back and see what they get. But the craziest moment of the day, which kind of made the whole conference for me, there were several lounge areas throughout the stadium, kind of by where the concession stands were. If it was like a football game, they just had seating and hammocks and stuff. And I was sitting there on my phone editing a TikTok for my business, and I was just really focused. I was cutting it up and whatnot, and then I just hear in the corner of my ear someone says, "That's a really good clip." And I turn, and sure enough, it was Gary right there, and he was with his crew, and he I guess he had just seen me editing this TikTok and came up and said that to me, and I was just in complete shock. I was like, no way. It was an awesome moment, and he just smiled and dapped me up, and it was cool. I'm really hoping his crew got it on camera because I'd love to see my reaction, but that was just an awesome moment. And again, it just he makes it feel like he knows you and he's your friend, even though he probably has no idea who I am and probably doesn't remember me, but he's just so good at connecting with people. It's insane. And that was honestly the most inspiring thing and the biggest takeaway from the conference, is just to strive to be more like that with everyone. But other than that, he had his final closing keynote that day, which was cool. He did a talk about fear and overcoming fear in life and in business. And it was just surreal to hear him actually talk in person and give a keynote in person, because I've listened to countless of them on YouTube and Spotify and whatnot. So to be there for one in person was an amazing moment, and it was super cool, and I loved it. I left after that, so I didn't see the final performer. I think Jordan Sparks performed, so unfortunately I missed that. But overall, VeeCon was a great experience. I loved it. I have so many good memories from there. And one of my buddies asked me when I came home, he was like, "So did Gary live up to your expectation?" And I was like, "Yeah, he was the nicest guy ever. He was great." And he brought up a very good point, because there's that saying that don't meet your heroes because they'll always disappoint you. And Gary was the furthest thing from that. He was exactly who he puts himself out to be online, and just as genuine and great in person. And so that was just awesome to see, and amazing, and definitely didn't disappoint in any way. So overall, VeeCon 2023 was a great experience. I loved every minute of it, and I can't wait to go to 2024. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys next week.